Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for the processional? You may be seated. Good afternoon. For the 397th time, candidates for baccalaureate and associate degrees from the Pennsylvania State University have gathered to celebrate their commencement. This afternoon, we are conducting commencement exercises for the Donald P. Belisario College of Communications, the College of Education, and the College of Information Sciences and Technology. All are in their places. The ceremony is hereby called to order.
On behalf of the entire Penn State student body, welcome to our Spring 2021 commencement. My name is Bingxin Zhang, and I'm a senior in the Donald P. Belisario College of Communications. Please rise for the national anthem performed by Joy Bohannon, who is study voice in the Penn State College of Music.
Broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Thank you. You may be seated. My name is Erin Flannery, and I'm a senior in the College of Information Sciences and Technology. It is now my pleasure to introduce Nicholas P. Jones, Penn State's Executive Vice President and Provost.
Thank you, Erin. It's not raining. Good afternoon to our Penn State graduates and their families and friends. I'm thrilled to welcome you in person and on our live stream to our Spring 2021 commencement ceremony. The commencement ceremony is of great importance. It's patterned after a ritual which has been repeated through the long history of higher education and duplicated throughout the world wherever there are universities and colleges. The mace is a symbol of the university and was carved from the first knoll post in Old Maine. Commencement is steeped in history, but the spirit of commencement is modern and always changing. Some of your parents and other relatives may remember graduating in Beaver Stadium in the early 1980s. Others commenced in an un-air-conditioned rec hall. In recent years, our graduates gathered in Eisenhower Auditorium, the Pagula Ice Arena, and the Bryce Jordan Center. And last year, your siblings and friends would have marked this moment during a virtual ceremony at home. Although the venues change, the meaning has not. And in every case, the commencement ceremony was unique, and Penn State graduates have always made it their own. Most importantly, commencement is a symbol of the outstanding achievements that have brought you all to this day. Today is your moment. You are entering a world like no other, one that has been changed by a global pandemic, as well as a movement to make our communities safe, diverse, and inclusive. I hope you will consider how you will contribute to building a better world. As Penn State graduates, you have resilience, creativity, intelligence, and maturity. These skills will serve you well as you embark on a future full of promise. I am so pleased and proud to have shared this time with you and watched you grow as scholars and as global citizens. As you move forward, we hope you'll take with you many wonderful memories from your time at Penn State. Whether you were on Zoom, in the classroom, in the lab, or in parking lots, all of you discovered that learning takes you to new places. And you discovered that you can overcome anything, even a global pandemic, if you work together. I'm very proud of your concern for one another, and I wish to recognize the class of 2021 for voting to create the Student Access and Equity Fund as your class gift. On behalf of all future students, who will benefit from this gift. Thank you. It has been an honor teaching and learning with you. Your contributions have moved our institution forward. I hope you'll always remember the good times, how to see the world in new ways, and what it feels like to be part of something that is bigger than yourself. And now, some members of the class of 2021 have a few memories to share.
I started off as an undecided person in the Division of Undergraduate Studies, and then from there never really declared, but threw around probably 4 or 5 ideas until I finally settled on biobehavioral health.
Actually, I didn't change my major. However, I added one major and switched my focus. I started with Earth Sciences, and later I added Energy Business and Finance as my second major.
From the moment I stepped foot into the College of Education, I knew that I wanted to major in early childhood and elementary education, and I've learned that teaching is not just a career for me, but is the place where I feel most alive.
My favorite class is Communication 496. That's the independent study. The whole class had only 2 students, and we had a lot of autonomy working on our copywriting portfolio.
International Relations Theory.
Comm 419. It was about world communications in South Africa.
There were definitely some interesting ones, but I would have to say Principles of Immunology. I took it in the spring of 2020 with Dr. Adrian Dacey, and I was really excited to take the class all through my undergraduate career. But having the opportunity to learn about immunological concepts while there was a pandemic going on outside, I feel like was really impactful to me.
My favorite extracurricular activity was definitely club soccer. I got to go on so many great trips. I met some amazing friends, some of my best friends.
Definitely the College of Education Student Council for undergraduate students.
I love the World Campus Tech Club.
I really enjoyed going on alternative spring break. It's when we spend the whole spring break offering community services to different cities.
Participating in the Penn State Black Caucus and putting on our annual award show.
After retiring from the military, I chose Penn State World Campus because not only was I able to pursue my degree at the same time, but I was able to work full time and send the last of my 6 children to college. So,
I think the most surprising thing I learned about myself, good question.
The most surprising thing I learned about myself is that I am more resilient than I thought. I can really bounce back from difficult situations.
I learned about how much I don't know. Every day I discover something new that I didn't know the day before.
The most surprising thing I learned is that I can make an impact at such a large school.
Time goes much faster than I thought it ever could when you're in Happy Valley.
I don't hate group work.
Maybe how much I could juggle at any given time.
I learned that I can become as confident as I am now.
I plan to work in blood cancer research at Vanderbilt University next year.
My future plans after graduation is to move to the Boston area where my husband will start law school, and I will look for teaching jobs and finish pursuing my license.
My future plans include working in the legislative sector for a while, and then I'll be going to law school.
I just moved to Texas and started as a cyber systems security engineer at Lockheed Martin.
I will be moving to New York City as a management consulting associate at PwC in their deals advisory practice.
I plan to go to grad school for business analytics.
My future plans are finishing a graduate degree in economics and finally pursue a PhD in economics.
I'm going to be pursuing a PhD in educational psychology right after graduation here at Penn State in the College of Education.
If I could sum up my Penn State experience in one word, that word would be meaningful.
I would say impactful.
Self-realization.
Transformational.
Eye-opening.
Phenomenal.
I would say happiness.
Self-discovery.
Amazing.
Life-changing.
Ready.
bittersweet.
Unrivaled. As cliche as it might be, I think my Penn State experience, and even having grown up in State College, was entirely unrivaled from any other opportunity that I could have had.
Okay, good one. Now it gives me great pleasure. Actually, hang on a second. We are! It's more like it. Okay, now it gives me great pleasure to introduce today's commencement speaker, Mr. Bob McKinnon. Mr. McKinnon, who earned his bachelor's degree from Penn State in 1990, is a writer, designer, podcast host, author, and teacher. What unites his work is the desire to help others move up in life, just as others have helped him. Through his consultancy, Gale Will Design, Mr. McKinnon has partnered with leading social change organizations to help millions overcome obstacles on their way to a healthier and happier life. He founded the Moving Up Media Lab, a nonprofit organization whose mission it is to inspire people to reflect on who and what has helped them get to where they are today. Their latest initiative is the PBS podcast, Attribution with Bob McKinnon. Mr. McKinnon is an adjunct professor at the Parsons School of Design and the Colin Powell School of Civic and Global Leadership at the City College of New York, where he teaches courses on social mobility and the American dream. He is also the author of the Moving Up Mondays blog and 2 books, including Actions Speak Loudest, Keeping Our Promise for a Better World. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Bob McKinnon back to Penn State.
Thank you, Dr. Jones, and welcome to the class of 2021. For those of you who are expecting Kate McKinnon from Saturday Night Live, or really anyone you've ever heard of, my apologies. It was an honor to be asked to give a commencement address by your alma mater, so when Dean Harton asked me, I was sent scurrying to prepare in some very predictable ways. I Googled best commencement speeches ever, watched about 10 of them, got really depressed. Thank you a lot, Oprah. I texted 30 of my friends and I asked them, who was your commencement speaker and what was their really important message they shared? And none of them could remember who spoke or any word that was said. This made me feel quite a bit better. I did some research on the university, thinking I would share with you some mind-blowing facts. For example, did you know that the stadium is named after James Beaver? He was a former general in the US Army during the Civil War. He was actually taken to the battlefield in an ambulance, only to lose his leg as soon as he took command. I wrote a couple of opening jokes to try to keep it light. I thought about a very questionable story about my times here tossing a Huffy off my balcony at University Terrace. Decided not to go into details on that. I developed a theme, I pulled it together, wrote a couple drafts, revisions, polished it up, and overall felt that I would give you quite the commencement address. And then I did what I should have done in the beginning. I talked to a couple of students, I read your words online on Onward State and the Daily Collegian, and I decided to start over. I don't think I fully appreciated until then how much you've lost this past year. Under normal circumstances, we come to college, we meet new people, we go to class in person, We show up at the hub in groups of people to work on projects or student organizations. We cheer at football games. We go to Bryce Jordan to celebrate the love that is Thon. We hug our friends when we spot them on a crowded campus. We have parties with more than 10 people. We go out at night, not needing a line pass. And we drop by our friends' apartments just because. College is meant to be a time of socializing without the distancing. It's a time to take our masks off, not to put them up. It's a time for inclusion, not isolation. For you, this was meant to be a time of we in the largest sense, and yet in too many ways, it was diminished or denied. And for that, I am really, really sorry, because I know personally how important every one of those things matters to you. Yet on another level, you've expanded this idea of we, and for that, I am very grateful. In your sacrifice and restraint, you have demonstrated care and consideration for one another. You have, in fact, by your actions, made it easier for those behind you to come to school in the fall. And if there are any incoming freshmen who are listening today, they owe you all a debt of gratitude. With this sacrifice, you join a time-honored tradition at Penn State. We sit here gathered today in a mostly empty stadium where under normal circumstances, there would be 100,000 people, half of which would be cheering, "We are." Or maybe 2 or 3 of you. Many of you may know that the origin of We Are dates back to 1946. At that time, the football team was scheduled to have their last game in Miami, then a segregated city. They were told that their 2 black players could not come to play. So the team gathered, and they held a vote, and from that vote, they decided they would either all go or none would go. As one of the black players, Wally Triplett, said, "That's when we are all together, we are all one," became the creed they lived by. We could, in fact, fill this stadium with people who have similarly sacrificed or given their time and effort for us to gather here today. For those who have blazed the trail for others like Rebecca Ewing and Calvin Waller, our first woman and person of color to graduate from the university, to those who made access to this education possible, like Bunny Sandler, who is not the mother of Adam Sandler, but the mother of Title IX, which afforded equal opportunity for women in education, and Claiborne Pell, father of the Pell Grant, which allowed me to attend Penn State, and perhaps many of you as well, to Justin Smith Morrell and Abraham Lincoln, who authored the Land-Grant College Act, which allowed people, again, like me, who were common people, working people, to become the first in their family to graduate from college. But we need not look back at history to find sacrifice. Just look beside you. For all of my friends who could not remember who their commencement speaker was or what was said that day, they did recall the look on their parents' face or a moment shared with a loved one. Take a moment now, look at who's beside you, and see the mutual pride in each other's faces. Of course, if they're shivering, you may have had a different experience. For those of you who may have lost a parent or a loved one, I know you may have just felt a pang of sadness. I know I just did. 3 people who were guests at my own graduation are no longer with us. And in fact, my father, who left us when we were young, died on the very day I graduated from Penn State. Still, I would like to think that all of our loved ones, whether physically here or not, are with us today. Like you, they have done the hard things to make life a little easier for others. Why is this important? Research will tell you that the more we remember those that have helped us along the way, the more grateful and appreciative we are. Happiness follows gratitude, not the other way around. Importantly, this also motivates us to be more supportive with one another. We are is not just a chant at a stadium, it is a promise to be there for one another. You may have some anxiety about the job market and the world you're about to enter, but did you know that 80% of all jobs are filled through your connections and your networking? Now, to make you feel pretty good about that, we could fill this whole stadium 7 times over with alumni who are ready, willing, and able to help you find a job, start a business, and pursue your passions. Case in point, when I graduated, I had a tough time finding a job. It could have been because at that time I was sporting a pretty significant mullet. But fortunately, I got a connection through an alumni named Lynn Salzberg, who hooked me up with an interview and got me a job that I held for the next 15 years. My connection to this university has never let me down. They've helped me with my research, promoted my work, thanks Mike Poorman, Steve Samsel, and Dean Harden. They have participated in projects that I have done, like the Paternos, who contributed a chapter to my book, or who I featured in a work on philanthropy. Even these remarks were aided by Jackie Esposito, a librarian archivist who is a treasure to our institution. And of course, there are many friends from Penn State who over these last 30 years have been there for me, offering sound advice and of course, a good laugh. In short, I would not be where or who I am today without Penn State, and I trust you wouldn't be either. This past year has reminded us how truly connected we are. Our health, our economy, our livelihoods, all interconnected by a sneeze, a touch, a click. Coincidentally, as graduates from the 3 colleges represented here today, you have all chosen careers that operate in the world of we. There are no teachers without students. There are no communications without audiences. There is no technology without users. Each of your respective fields has been stretched to the limits this last year, questioned, challenged, criticized. You will have jobs, and yes, you will find jobs, that can reinforce divisions or heal them. They can diminish inequalities or increase them. They can move us forward or they can hold us back. All of it depends on how you choose to define we. We is designed to be inclusive, although as we've seen, it is often not. We use we to create cliques and clubs, political parties, and groups that divide us. And we see where this has gotten us. Fortunately, I believe that given all you've experienced this year, you may have a deeper, truer appreciation of the phrase we are than any previous graduating class. I expect you to embrace this phrase in the largest sense. We are not just Penn State. We are one country. We are one world. We are one planet. I hope you look charitably upon one another. Always assume the best of intentions, even with those you vehemently disagree with. That you avoid the filter bubbles of media and the trappings of self-interest. And finally, that you choose to measure your own success by the success you help create for others. Like the field outstretched before you, you have your entire adult life ahead of you. Remember that no one ever truly scores alone, and that we are is not just a chant you say in the stadium, but the words to live by once you walk out of it. Congratulations to the class of 2021. Now I'd like to end my remarks in the most predictable and appropriate way possible. We are. We are. We are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McKinnon. I'm now pleased to recognize and present the academic leaders who represent the faculty and who have the authority to certify these students for their degrees. As of spring 2021, Penn State has granted more than 890,000 degrees. Will each representative please stand as I call your name and remain standing until all are introduced. Marie Harden, Dean of the Donald P. Belisario College of Communications. Denise Bawtrey, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs in the Donald P. Belisario College of Communications. Kimberly Lawless, Dean of the College of Education. Rain Sperling, Associate Dean of Undergraduate and Graduate Education in the College of Education. And Andrew Sears, Dean of the College of Information Sciences and Technology. Thank you all. You may be seated. And now we turn to the awarding of degrees. The legal corporate body of the Pennsylvania State University is its Board of Trustees. By our charter, this body is given final responsibility for the governance, welfare, and all other interests pertaining to our university. At this time, I call upon Laurie Stenell, member of the Penn State Board of Trustees, to authorize the conferring of degrees. Trustee Stenell graduated from Penn State in 1980 with a Bachelor of Science in Biology and went on to earn her DMD from the Temple University School of Dentistry in 1985. She is a member of the Academy of General Dentistry, American Dental Association, American Academy of Dental Sleep Medicine, and Sharing the Journey International, a humanitarian organization that provides aid, including dental services, to people in need. Trustee Stenell is also a board member of the Penn State Club of Bucks County and a member of the Eberly Alumni Society Board. We are very pleased that she is with us today. Trustee Stenell.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2021. I'm very honored to play a role in this special ceremony. You are graduating at a time of great uncertainty, but also one filled with great opportunities. And here comes the sun. Our world needs you more than ever before, and you will be armed with the experience, knowledge, and keen insight that you can overcome any obstacles and embrace challenges. You have inspired us and demonstrated the grit and determination that has made Penn State one of the leading universities in the world. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want you to know how proud we are of your intelligence, optimism, and willingness to keep moving forward. And as a Penn State graduate, let me be the first to proudly welcome you to our family of alumni. Now I turn to my official duty. Provost Jones, by the virtue of the authority vested in and it is approved by the Board of Trustees of the Pennsylvania State University, you are authorized on behalf of the board to confer upon each of these candidates the degrees earned as certified by the appropriate college, faculty, and dean.
Thank you, Trustee Stenell, for the authorization of degrees for these candidates assembled. Before we proceed to the conferral of degrees, please note that Penn State is now recognizing our graduates who are actively serving, veterans, and graduates of our ROTC programs with special red, white, and blue honor cords for their service and sacrifices. At this time, I would like to ask all graduating military and veteran students who have served our country to please stand. Okay, keep standing. Will those also in the audience who are veterans or active duty members of the military also please join them standing? Thank you for your significant contributions to our nation. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I now wish to recognize the graduates who have earned meritorious achievement. These are students graduating in the top 12% of their class. Upon completion of the grades for the spring semester, additional names will be added to this list. Diplomas will have this academic achievement noted on the official document. Students who are graduating summa cum laude are wearing a blue and white cord. Students who are graduating magna cum laude are wearing a blue cord, and students who are graduating cum laude are wearing a white cord. Please hold your applause until the students in all three categories are standing. Will those students graduating summa cum laude please rise and remain standing? Will those students graduating magna cum laude please rise and remain standing? And now, will those students graduating cum laude please rise? Congratulations again, and best wishes for your continuing excellence. You may be seated. We will proceed with the conferral of the degrees to all candidates. Diplomas will be sent in the mail. We have arranged for you to hear your name after this ceremony. Simply visit Penn State's Commencement website and click on the live stream to see a list of all colleges. Visit Your Colleges tab and you will find your name under our graduates. But right now, we want to give your family and friends the opportunity to cheer for you and embarrass you as loudly as they wish. Can I ask all guests to please stand with their graduates? Okay, on the count of three, I want you to call out your graduate's name so that we can hear it on the stage. So everybody please take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, hang on. Time out. Yesterday evening, I did engineering right here. They were louder than you. Let's try that again. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Much better. Thank you. You may be seated. And now for the moment you have all been waiting for, the conferral of degrees. First, we have Dean Marie Harden of the Donald P. Belisario College of Communications.
Thank you, Provost Jones. Will the candidates from the Donald P. Belisario College of Communications please rise? Provost Jones, Trustee Snell, I am pleased and proud to present these worthy and approved candidates.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree you have earned in the Donald P. Belisario College of Communications with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. You may now move the tassel on your cap from right to left, and congratulations.
All of today's graduating students have excelled in one way or another in their academic work and co-curricular activities. All are unique and deserving of great praise. Though we cannot share with you the accomplishments of each graduate, we have identified one student as representative of the Donald P. Belisario College of Communications class of 2021. Bingxin Zheng is class marshal for the Belisario College. A Dean's List student from Chengzhou, China, Bing majored in advertising and public relations as well as psychology. Bing, I offer you my best wishes and heartiest congratulations on your achievements. I'd now like to call upon Denise Bortry, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs in the Donald P. Belisario College of Communications.
Thank you, Dean Harden. I have the privilege of recognizing the graduating students in each of the academic departments. To begin, I will ask each department student marshal to stand, and then I will ask all students in that department to stand as a group at their respective seats. Representing the Department of Advertising and Public Relations is Student Marshal Nina Track. Nina, will you please rise? Now, will all the graduates of the Department of Advertising and Public Relations please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. Representing the Department of Film Production is Student Marshal Jake Jurich. Jake, will you please rise? Now will the graduates of the Department of Film Production please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. Representing the Department of Journalism is Student Marshal Justin Corman. Justin, will you please rise? Now, will all the graduates of the Department of Journalism please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. Representing the Department of Media Studies is Student Marshal Daryl Watkins. Daryl, will you please rise? And now will the graduates of the Department of Media Studies please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. And finally, representing the Department of Telecommunications and Media Industries is Student Marshal Eva Lynn Rule. Eva, will you please rise? And now will the graduates of the Department of Telecommunication and Media Industries please rise? Thank you. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the recognition of the graduating students in the Donald P. Belisario College of Communications. Please join me in congratulating these new graduates.
Thank you, Associate Dean Bawtry. I'd now like to call to the podium Dean Kimberly Lawless, Dean of the College of Education.
Thank you, Provost Jones. Will the candidates from the College of Education please rise? Provost Jones, Trustee Stenell, I am pleased to present these worthy and approved candidates.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree you have earned in the College of Education with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. You may now move the tassel on your cap from right to left, and congratulations.
We have two student marshals representing the College of Education class of 2021, Emma Morris and Taylor Young. Emma majored in elementary and early childhood education with a minor in special education, and Taylor majored in secondary education English with minors in English and education policy studies. Emma and Taylor, I offer you my best wishes and heartiest congratulations on your achievements. I'd now like to call on Rain Sperling, Associate Dean of Undergraduate and Graduate Education in the College of Education.
Thank you, Dean Lawless. I have the privilege of recognizing the graduating students in each of our academic programs. To begin, I will ask each program student marshal to stand, and then I will ask all students in that program to stand as a group at their respective seats. Representing the program of elementary and early childhood education is Student Marshal Morgan Gerard. Morgan, will you please rise? Now, will the graduates of the elementary and early childhood education program please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. Representing the program of Education and Public Policy is Student Marshal Noah Spytel. Noah, will you please rise? Now, will the graduates of the Education and Public Policy program please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. Representing the program of middle level education is Student Marshal Devin Preston. Devin, will you please rise? Now, will the graduates of the middle level education program please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. Representing the program of Rehabilitation and Human Services is Student Marshal Brian Seitz. Brian, will you please rise? Now, will the graduates of the Rehabilitation and Human Services program please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. Representing the program of Secondary Education is Student Marshal Sarah Lasco. Sarah, will you please rise? Now, will the graduates of the Secondary Education program please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. Representing the program of Special Education is Student Marshal Tess Fukuyama. Tess, will you please rise? Now, will the graduates of the Special Education program please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. Representing the program of World Languages Education is Student Marshal Elizabeth D. Felice. Elizabeth, will you please rise? Now, will the graduates of the World Languages Education program please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. Representing the program of Workforce Education is Student Marshal Pamela Kennewell. Pamela, will you please rise? Now, will the graduates of the Workforce Education program please rise? Please join me in recognizing these graduates. Thank you. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the recognition of the graduating students in the College of Education. Please join me in congratulating these new graduates.
Thank you, Associate Dean Sperling. I'd now like to call to the podium Dean Andrew Sears of the College of Information Sciences and Technology.
Thank you, Provost Jones. Will the candidates from the College of Information Science and Technology please rise? Provost Jones, Trustee Stenell, I am pleased to present these worthy and approved candidates.
Okay, we better let everybody put their ponchos on. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon each of you the degree you have earned in the College of Information Sciences and Technology with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. You may now move the tassels on your cap from right to left. Congratulations.
We've identified one student as a representative of the College of Information Science and Technology, class of 2021. This year's College Marshal is Erin Flannery, who pursued dual majors in Security and Risk Analysis and Chinese Language and Culture. While at Penn State, Erin served as a research assistant for the College of IST and for the Center for Language Science in the College of Liberal Arts. Erin, I offer you my best wishes and heartiest congratulations on your achievements. Now may I ask Erin and all of today's graduates of the College of Information Science and Technology to please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to recognize all of this year's graduating students in the College of Information Sciences and Technology.
Okay, we are almost done. Thank you, Dean Sears. As a land-grant institution, we are chartered to offer the opportunity for training in the military service, and at Penn State, we have programs in the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. Will all graduates of the Pennsylvania State University Reserve Officer Training Corps please rise? It is a privilege for me to present our graduates of the Reserve Officer Training Corps as officers who will serve in the armed forces of the United States. On behalf of the Pennsylvania State University, I congratulate each of you. You may be seated. With the conferral of degrees today, each of you now becomes an alumna or alumnus of the Pennsylvania State University. It now gives me great pleasure to ask back to the podium University Trustee Laurie Stenell, who will induct the new graduates into the Penn State Alumni Association.
Thank you, Provost Jones. Congratulations, graduates that are left here. So let's make the Pennsylvania State Alumni Association celebrate your successes and welcomes you into a proud network of Penn Staters. Your Alumni Association is powered by pride. More than 174,000 alumni and friends like you keep their connection to our world-class university strong through membership in the Penn State Alumni Association. Today, on behalf of the Alumni Association, I'm honored to share our graduation gift to you, a one-year free membership in the Penn State Alumni Association. Your membership keeps you in touch with Penn State and connects you with more than 300 geographically dispersed alumni chapters, interest groups, and college and campus societies. No matter where you live, what you studied, on which campus you attended, we have a group that matches your interests. After graduation, once you've settled, reach out to your local Penn State chapter. Your Penn State family will be happy to hear from you, and in the coming years, when you visit Penn State, we hope you will enjoy your time on campus and stop by the Hens Family Alumni Center at University Park. With that, we would like to ask our new graduates to please rise. It gives me great pleasure to induct all graduating students of the Penn State University into the Penn State Alumni Association. Congratulations. We are!
Okay, I think we'll just we'll have a pause for 2 minutes here just to let people safely get to cover so people are not rushing. But we are almost done. Okay, you can listen while we finish up here. Before we conclude, our students would like to recognize some of the people who have made their education possible.
My name is Emma Morris, and I'm a senior in the College of Education. Parents, grandparents, siblings, spouses, other family members, and friends, would you please stand? You've all contributed towards the achievements being celebrated here today. Whether you're joining us in person or over the live stream, we would like to recognize you now. Your sacrifice, understanding, support, and caring have helped us all attain our educational goals. This encouragement has been very important and not always easy when you had to share in the stresses and strains of our academic programs. We know that you also have worked hard to get to this day. Now I'd like to ask the graduates to please join me in thanking their families and friends for all they have done to support your success at Penn State. Thank you very much. You may be seated.
My name is Taylor Marie Young, and I'm also a senior in the College of Education. At the heart of every great university are its faculty and the staff members who support them. Now, will the faculty and staff please stand? Your standards of excellence and commitment to helping us achieve our educational goals have helped prepare us for the real world. On behalf of the class of 2021, I thank you for your patience and passion for excellence in teaching and learning. We will never forget you. Please join me in thanking the faculty and staff. Thank you very much. You may be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to conclude our damp commencement ceremony by thanking you for the We Are spirit that embodies our community and you are demonstrating right now. I'm proud of all of you and grateful that you all chose to advance your education at Penn State. You will always be part of the Penn State family, and we wish you health, happiness, success, warmth, and dryness wherever you go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will end our commencement ceremonies. We will be led in singing the Alma Mater by Joy Bohannon. Will you please stand if you're not and remain standing until the academic procession has exited the stadium. The ushers will then help you safely out of the stadium by row. Joy.
For the glory of old state, for her founder strong and great, for the future that we wait, raise the song, raise the song. Sing our love and loyalty, sing our hopes that bright and free. Rest, O Mother dear, with thee, all with thee, all with thee. When we stood at
My